Hey folks, welcome to the Witchual Workout. I'm Laura Tempest Zakroff. Today's Monday, the moon is waxing, and our topic for today comes from a viewer request. Meridith asked about using the directions in ritual movement. So, a little bit of going into what does that mean to use the directions. In creating sacred space, there are many ways to do it. Most folks who come from a Western Occultist type of background or ceremonial magic tend to have association of north, east, west, and south, usually aligned with earth, air, water, and fire. Which goes to which depends on the tradition or path. So that's a valid thing that is used by a whole bunch of different folks. Now, you've seen me generally just call in the elements, right, with movement, to breathe in air, to bring up fire, water, earth, and also above and below, which too is spirit as well as direction. And when I consider direction, I'm often thinking about where I am in relationship to space and what am I focusing on. So if I am connecting to the land spirits, then I may pick landmarks, right? Certain things in the landscape and acknowledge those in my practice as I'm reaching out to connect with them. When I'm just being present in my body, the elements, all of the elements are present within my body. The directions I can turn and acknowledge the whole world. And if you think about directions, right? If you go far enough north, you end up in the south. You go far enough west, you end up in the east, because we are on a round planet. It's completely round. It is not flat. It is round. So you can travel around it as it goes around the universe. So how you parse it out and find meaning, that's going to be most important to you. But there are most common associations. People tend to think east and air, fire and south, west and water, north and earth. And that can be confusing depending on where you live. Like for me here in New England, east is where the water is, but we can also see about the way the Gulf Stream, the air comes in the direction, though that also comes in from the north. It can come in from the south, right? It can come from any of these places. Where earth is the west. Actually, right now I'm facing west. It goes out all the way, right? So instead, what I might think about is, to the west of me is this mountain, to the east of me is the Atlantic Ocean, to the south is this particular icon, to the north is that particular rock or that river or that stream that I am personally connected with. So in movement, right, my movements might respond to the elements in that direction. It might just be about calling it in and welcoming them. So we're going to just work through a few different options in the second song. So let's get started. As always, we start with breath, deep breath. And exhale. Deep breath. And exhale. Deep breath. And exhale. And scoop. Up. Side. And up. Bring the arms up, opposite arm and hip, reach for the sky. Up, shoulders, and back. and push. And circle. And reverse. Stretch your backs. And down, relax, connect. And roll up. Now, since we are incorporating, looking at directions and elements, we can bring these both together. So, just to stress, it's more up to you deciding the meaning, the application, which direction, which element. If you choose to do these things together, you can just do directions, right? And something that you are facing and moving in those directions. You can just do elements. And you can also go to the traditional folklore, right? There is folklore with each of these directions. The north is a place of death and darkness and mystery. The south can be a place of creation, of fire, of rebirth, right? All of these different things. You get to consider what is important for where you live and what your practice looks like. What is your background? What is your path? So, let's start with air. Fire. Water. And earth. Above, below. So with just that, I've separated the elements into their own acknowledgement. And if I wish to speak to the space around me, I think first we have east, which is behind. And it is breath, wind, and it is also the ocean. So in thinking of, for me, the ocean, right, I bring in that wind, and then I think about the rolling energy. And bring it in. To the south is a mighty oak tree. And it brings us shade, it brings life and nourishment. So I'm going to think about the roots that go deep below this house and has been here for several hundred years, pulling up, expanding out, and I acknowledge. As I said, I am facing west. And here, that means a little bit of mountains. So I'm thinking about the earth aspect of that, but the protection. The mountains that have seen so much. The wisdom that comes from them. And the earth up. And to the north, there is the cold. There is much mystery. There's a place of ancestors, great old cemeteries. And so I'm thinking about connecting to that land, to those who have seen the ocean, who have walked the mountains, who have planted the trees and worked with them. And I recognize this place and moment above, below, and I am in the center of this space. So that is one way that you can orient yourself and use movement to connect to those places. So main thing is to do some research, to sit down and think, or to travel safely if you can, to find those points if you're wishing to work with the land, and if you want to have other elements moved into your practice, consider that. Take the time, read some folklore, look at the myths, and look at the land itself and listen to it. So I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks, Meridith, for the suggestion, and be sure to subscribe. I will see you tomorrow.